The opening moments of the 2025 MotoGP season felt like the start of a new dynasty. Ducati had assembled what many believed was the most formidable pairing the sport had ever seen. A double world champion in Francesco Bagnaia lined up beside Marc Marquez, the most decorated rider of the modern era. For the first time in years, the factory garage didn't just look strong, it looked untouchable. But by the time the paddock packed up after the Valencia finale, the contrast inside that same garage felt almost surreal. On one side, Marquez celebrated yet another championship, lifting Ducati to a historic year. On the other, Bagnaia sat quietly with a season that had spiraled into something far more complicated than a simple loss of form. A collapse of confidence, connection, and trust that few in Borgo Panigale had ever witnessed from him. And the real story wasn't written on the timing sheets. It emerged only after the engines fell silent, when Bagnaia and Ducati's leadership finally revealed just how deep the fracture ran. Bagnaia's tone had changed throughout the year. What began as analytical concern slowly gave way to frustration, then to a kind of exhaustion he had never shown publicly. The front-end feeling, the characteristic grip and precision that defined his 2022 and 2023 championship runs, evaporated. The GP25 refused to communicate with him in the way he needed, and he never fully understood why. After Valencia, Bagnaia admitted it openly. "This is one of the most difficult seasons and perhaps the worst I've ever experienced," he said, giving a rare glimpse into the emotional toll the year had taken. Negativity is never the solution. When we allow ourselves to be overwhelmed by negative thoughts, we attract problems, and that's what happened to us. This wasn't just a technical problem, it was a psychological one. Ducati knew it. Rival teams knew it, and Marc Marquez, riding the same bike and dominating, certainly knew it. Instead of the explosive internal rivalry the world had anticipated, the season delivered something unexpected. Marquez spending time behind the scenes trying to lift Bagnaia out of his slump. Bagnaia later confirmed it. Marquez offered direction, analysis, small details to help unlock the GP25 again. Even Casey Stoner stepped in briefly, trying to give insight from his own experiences with Ducati's demanding front end. For a moment, the help seemed to work. Bagnaia produced a brilliant weekend in Japan, but the improvement vanished almost immediately. When Marquez clinched the championship and was asked about Bagnaia's struggles, his answer was both supportive and sobering. "We need Pecco to return to his level because he's super sensitive on this bike and he helps a lot for the future. For me, the speed is there. Sometimes only 2 months are enough to reset everything. December and January will be the best time for Pecco to reset and restart in Malaysia." But Pecco's year was haunted by something even stranger, a bizarre, almost unbelievable statistic that became a running joke inside team trucks. Every time Marco Bezzecchi won a MotoGP race, Bagnaia crashed. It happened in 2023, and it happened again in 2025. 6 Bezzecchi victories, 6 Bagnaia crashes. What began as coincidence slowly became a meme, even among VR46 Academy staff who joked that maybe the universe is trying to send a message. At Silverstone, Bezzecchi inherited the lead after Quartararo's failure. Bagnaia fell on lap 4. At Portimao, Bezzecchi dominated. Bagnaia crashed on lap 11. And in Valencia, the season finale, Bezzecchi escaped to victory again, while Bagnaia's race ended within seconds after Zarco misjudged his braking and took him out. Bagnaia called it a racing incident, but the pattern couldn't be ignored. By season end, Bezzecchi had risen to 3rd in the world standings, equaling Aprilia's best-ever MotoGP finish. Meanwhile, Bagnaia collapsed to 5th, recording 7 Sunday crashes and one of the lowest points totals of his Premier Class career. The only moment of genuine positivity came after the season ended. At the Valencia test, Bagnaia tried the GP26 prototype, and for the first time in months, his voice carried a hint of relief. "Honestly, I'm quite surprised. Not surprised, but happy," he explained, highlighting improvements in the fairing, the proto chassis, and Ducati's early direction. He even brushed off the test crash as nothing. "I exaggerated a bit and went wide." Yet one test could not erase the deeper issues, and this is where the season took its most important turn. After months of defending Bagnaia publicly, of softening criticism and shielding him from pressure, Ducati's general manager, Dall'Igna, finally spoke plainly. On Ducati's official channels, in his formal end-of-season review, he delivered a verdict that stunned many in the paddock. "Bagnaia," he wrote, "failed. Not as an insult, not as anger, but as a carefully considered assessment of a rider who had not maximized what was possible. He failed to collect as much as he could have, even in non-optimal situations. Ill luck complicates everything, but does not erase the responsibilities." He described 2025 as a learning experience, something that needed to be absorbed like antibodies to return to one's former self. But beneath the measured language lay a clear warning. Ducati would not tolerate another season like this. Speaking later to Sky Italia, Dall'Igna expanded. "There are elements to evaluate on both sides to restore trust. Trust has technical components, but also human components." And with that, Ducati's stance shifted. Earlier in the year, they had insisted, "We always trust Pecco." After Valencia, a different message emerged. The problem was now trust itself. Tardazzi admitted Bagnaia no longer trusted the GP25. Bagnaia admitted he struggled to accept his own limitations. Dall'Igna pointed towards both technical and mental fractures. And as 2026 approaches, that fracture must heal quickly. Bagnaia still insists he wants to stay long-term. "I started with Ducati, I want to finish my career with them." But 2026 is the final year of his contract, and alternatives are already forming. Fermin Aldeguer is waiting. Alex Marquez is rising. Nicolo Ballega is impressing immediately as a test rider. One headline captured it bluntly. "Francesco Bagnaia risks losing his Ducati seat for 2027. The pressure is no longer hypothetical, it's real. Jorge Lorenzo believes the solution is psychological, not mechanical. He urged Bagnaia to seek outside help, a sports psychologist, citing Andrea Dovizioso's transformation in 2017 after doing the same. He started to have more confidence, Lorenzo explained. Pecco is at least as good as Alex Marquez, not inferior, but he needs someone from outside. While Bagnaia struggled, Ducati enjoyed the second most successful MotoGP season in their history. Gigi listed the numbers proudly. 17 wins from 22 races, 6th consecutive constructors' title, 88 consecutive podiums with at least one Ducati, a dominant 545-point title victory by Marc Marquez. Alex Marquez earned a factory seat for 2026. Di Giannantonio produced a brilliant season finish. Aldeguer won in his rookie year. Ballega impressed immediately in testing. Bagnaia was the only dark cloud in an otherwise golden year. Now he enters the most important off-season of his career. He knows it. The 3-month break will allow me to reset and return a better rider. Ducati knows it. Marquez knows it. The paddock knows it. 2026 will either be his redemption or the beginning of the end of the Bagnaia Ducati era. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below.